Thanks for joining us for Elko Live today. This is our monthly get-together with Matt McCarty, who is Executive Director of the Terrace at Ruby View, our senior and active lifestyle center. Matt, what a pleasure, and thank you for coming in and being ready for our radio show today.
We always appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much, and it's joyful for us as well to be able to share some information to an audience that we don't always get to see in the center. So we appreciate again this opportunity.
Well, and thanks to the center for being so receptive and encouraging. I know that John Patrick Rice dropped in and promoted Love Letters. That's a sweet play I saw opening night last night, Matt. And if our listeners can get a chance to get in and support that, it's meaningful. It's a tearjerker, but it's a very sweet play, and I think especially our senior audience would really enjoy that opportunity. So.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly today at lunch, and it is not only, of course, a limited run, but seating is also limited, and that was great to hear Dr. Rice talk about the change in venue of being able to be back in the radio or the TV station, and so that was great as well. So I told our members, I said it's limited to 40 people, so get your tickets while you can.
Yeah, it's an intimate audience, should be just two actors in this, and Scott Glennon is fantastic, and so is the woman who is playing. She's newer to the community, but her name is Nicole Jameson, and she is delightful, and what a wonderful performance they both give in the Love Letters. So 6:30 doors open for the 7 o'clock performance at GBC.
That's right, and that'll be for the next couple of nights, and then on Saturday, which I think most of our seniors will go to just because a lot of them don't like driving at night, a lot of them will be going to the 2 o'clock matinee on Saturday.
Oh,
so,
thanks, Matt.
So there's that as well.
Great. And then the final performance Saturday evening. So there you go. We kind of wanted to put in a nice little plug for that. And speaking of, there's so much going on, and I always love seeing, you always have a list of new members, Matt. It's great to see the membership growing.
It is amazing to see the membership. Rough numbers, I think, because our fiscal year ended September 30. And so we had some grants that we're wrapping up and some other grants that are just starting. And so we're doing some audit work and some end of year work. And roughly we served 1,500 individual seniors within our community last year. And of that, about 450 were new members. So it's great to see that's just terrific growth. And we've served more than we ever have in a year. With the numbers that we're seeing for our seniors, we are truly blessed to be able to have such a supportive community, but we also recognize that we're serving less than 20% of the seniors in just the Elko Spring Creek area. Of course, Carlin and Wells, West Wendover, and Jackpot now all have their own senior centers, but just the Elko Spring Creek seniors, those that are 60 and better, we're serving less than 20%. And still seeing tremendous numbers.
Well, that's great, Matt. Room for growth. And speaking of, Meals on Wheels has expanded to Spring Creek. Thought I might check in with you, see how that's going. Yeah,
it's going slower than we anticipated. We thought that we'd see a faster ramp up, but we have been very blessed again by the grants through the Aging and Disability Services Division of the state of Nevada under their Health and Human Services Department. And so we've actually gotten yet another new truck. This time we're not expanding any routes. What we're doing is when we do receive that truck, because we've gotten a grant for the truck is what I should have said. So we've gone through one of our local dealers here to get that truck. And once it arrives, our oldest truck is now 14 years old, lots of running around. And so that one's going to be not quite retired, but maybe semi-retired. And we're going to leave that as a backup. But we do have 2 routes out in Spring Creek, directly to what you had introduced us segment to. And so we have the 2 routes. They're not growing quite as fast as we had expected. So we have room for folks to be able to join from Spring Creek. If you know of someone, if you have a loved one or a friend or a neighbor, or perhaps you yourself are 60 and better and homebound, please let us know. And many people assume homebound means, well, I don't have the ability to drive. And that's not necessarily the case. You may have the ability to drive, but perhaps you don't have a vehicle, or perhaps it's too expensive to go over the hill and back every day or once a week. We can help with that. And so that still is considered a homebound individual. We do ask, have you tried to utilize Get My Ride? That is another service that the community has, and we want to make sure that we're working within the partnerships that we have in the area to make sure folks can use those resources and that we're not overlooking something that might be an assistance that others may not know about.
And that collaboration is really key. And you're also talking about delivering meals in both Elko and Spring Creek for those 60 or better who may have a temporary disability. So you don't have to have a permanent disability to qualify for Meals on Wheels.
Absolutely. If you've gotten a surgery, a knee surgery or a hip surgery, or perhaps you're recovering from a cardiac event, anything that would keep you at the house, then we want to know about. We have a number of folks that are undergoing chemotherapy, and when that first starts, of course, it suppresses the immune system, and you may not want to go out because it could be very detrimental to your health. We can help with those as well.
And if you're a caregiver, right? That also counts.
Absolutely. If you live with the person that you're giving care to, then you also qualify. So we have folks that it's very important that they eat their meals together. In fact, we just had one of our members that passed, and his wife called in to say that their daughter has moved back in because now the wife needs a caregiver, the widow needs a caregiver. And so they were getting 2 meals and they were eating together, and the member said, I don't want to eat alone. Can my daughter get a meal too? And absolutely, yes, because she's living there and she's caring for our member who's homebound. So we want to make sure that if folks need help, just ask. We may not be able to solve all of the problems, but we can certainly at least try to find solutions or point in the right direction to find those solutions.
Care and compassion and making sure people's needs are being met. Matt, thank you so much. I know you work closely with Kathy Jones, our public guardian, on a lot of these issues too.
We do, and actually I'm glad you brought that up because coincidentally I visited with Kathy earlier this week, and one of the things also to know is that if there's a question about somebody that's entering a house, ask those questions, but then utilize the information that you're given as well. We just recently had someone that said, hey, there's this strange lady that came in and she, started going through things and collecting different things and then locking up and leaving, and we have no idea what's going on. And it happened that they called to say, what's the property rules in Nevada? How does this work? They thought it was somebody from the county assessor's office or treasurer's office who was like seizing the property for unpaid taxes. And so when I got to the bottom of what it was that they were talking about, I said, sounds like who you're describing is Kathy Jones. So a quick call, and she said, yep, that's one of the people that she's caring for. And so we were then able to put, hopefully, those neighbors' minds at ease to say, yes, this is legitimate. This is the situation. The homeowner had been in a home for a number of months because they had gotten sick, and then was in a nursing home out of the area, has moved back into the area, but won't be able to return to his home probably ever. And so as public guardian, Kathy is able to go in and make sure that the home is protected, make sure that it's secured. Items that were removed may be high value or may be a liability now that she's the caregiver, or not caregiver, but the guardian. For example, a firearm. Lord forbid a firearm is stolen, then that's a liability back not only to the homeowner, but also to the county and to Kathy Jones.
In fact, I had a conversation with local law enforcement. Sadly, there is an element, not necessarily within the community, but sometimes traveling through, and they look for these opportunities, Matt. So if someone is recently deceased or widowed, in a vulnerable position, some of these folks will target them and their property and actually try to steal their property.
Yes, absolutely. I love our community because we care so much about our neighbors and our friends. But when there's something that doesn't seem right, please make those calls. And again, we won't have all of the answers, but if you know that it's an elderly person, reach out to us. we can in turn reach out to our network. Perhaps it's with the Adult Protective Services. Perhaps it's with Kathy Jones. We have folks that we know of in the home health services and in the medical fields and in respite care. We can reach out to all kinds of folks. In fact, one of our board members is Billie Jean, and she is the executive director of Horizon Hospice. We can reach out and say, hey, have you, we saw, somebody said they saw a hospice van out there. Can you share any information? There is confidentiality. And so we don't know everything that happens, but we could at least say, yes, Horizon Hospice was out there, and yes, someone did pass. And at least put that question to bed, and then we can start working on how do we find other solutions.
Matt McCarty is Executive Director of the Terrace at Ruby View, our senior and active lifestyle center. And Matt, thanks for these conversations. Again, as people are aging, they want to age in place. They want to be vibrant, active members of the community. But sometimes the world can suddenly shift beneath your feet. And it's great to know that there's a resource to help. 775-738-3030 is the number for the Terrace, the senior center. And then you can talk to a real person, right? Generally between 8 and 3 p.m. or so.
Generally so, yes. Between about 11 and 2, generally our phones are either automatically go to a voicemail, or we may not be able to answer because we are in the middle of lunch, and our administrative assistant typically leaves around noon, but we've programmed the phones that at 11 o'clock, they basically go straight to voicemail. So if it does take a while, earlier in the morning and later in the afternoon is the best time to call. So if you're looking for someone, then that's usually best. But otherwise, leave a message and we will get back to you as quickly as we can.
That's excellent. Thanks, Matt, so much. Just wanted to remind people that our senior center is an excellent resource for any number of questions, concerns, or referrals that you might need, especially if you're new to the community. That's always nice. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you usually bring a list of things, and I want to make sure we're getting to what you're hoping to talk about today. I know it's that time of year to start getting ready for the holidays.
Yes, ma'am, it is, and we are excited about that. In fact, we know that Festival of Trees is right around the corner, and we're excited to see the beauty that comes from that. A classic Christmas, I think, is their theme this year. And of course, with the Festival of Trees is also our Christmas Bazaar. So we're getting ready to ramp up into the Christmas Bazaar and making sure that we have all of our booths and our vendors set for that. And so the Christmas Bazaar this year, as always, is going to be the first full weekend in December. So this year it's December 7th and 8th. And we invite the community to come out and shop through the bazaar, see if there are some things that you can pick up for gifts, or perhaps just for yourself, a little treat for yourself. So we'd love for folks to come out for that and celebrate the season with us.
We know that the meals are served at the Terrace at Ruby View weekdays starting at 11:30. And you're still able to do your drive-through, or is that still popular?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
In fact, today we had more than 45 people, I think, through the drive-through. Of course, today was a meatloaf day, so it was a very popular meal, and it's one of our most popular. When I left, we had served 130 people already just through the congregate dining, so it is a popular meal. So that may have been a little bit why that pushed it north. But we generally serve 30 to 3 dozen people through the drive-through, just the drive-through. And that's convenient for those folks that may be working and don't have the time to come in for the congregate dining, or folks that are perhaps immunocompromised but still feel okay driving. They don't necessarily feel safe in the dining room. Safe perhaps isn't the right word, because I don't want it to make it seem like it's an unsafe environment, but when you're exposed to germs and so forth, that can be detrimental. So unhealthy perhaps would be a better way. We can give them meals. And I mentioned people eating together. We have a number of folks that come through drive-through specifically to pick up a meal to eat with their loved one, because the loved one might qualify for Meals on Wheels, but they themselves don't. And so they wouldn't be able to get that meal to eat with them. So it's easier for them to pick it up through the drive-through and then go to the loved one's house and have lunch with them, which is always nice.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Matt. And again, it's a suggested $3 donation if you're 60 or better. And if you're younger than 60, it's $10 for the meal. So
that's right.
Cool.
Yeah. Not too bad of a of a deal. We think it's reasonable.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you always have these amazing desserts.
We do try to have some really good desserts. Yes, ma'am. Because
Yes.
dessert. Who doesn't want dessert with their meal?
Right, and it's it's a full meal. So you're looking at the newsletter, which is available online, elkoseniors.org, or you can get a printed version if you like.
Absolutely. We do have the printed version. Anybody that is a member can get it mailed to them, or we can hold it at the center, and that way we're saving a little bit of postage. We appreciate that thriftiness within our senior members, but we also can email it as well. The emailed versions they have some more information in it, because we're fairly limited to what we can print. We're about at the max of what the cost is to mail them. We have to bump up to the next postage amount if we add too many more pages. And so we limit what we have in our printed copy, but the electronic digital copy, we stuff as many things as we can in there. And almost always it's from our other partners, AARP or the University of Nevada, the Stanford Institute on Aging. We have all kinds of things that come in. In fact, N4 is the Neighborhood Network of Northern Nevada. They have a respite program that we'll be putting in a full-page flyer in for the November newsletter. So all kinds of different things that we can do on the electronic version. If anyone would like information on that, call us. We can add the email in. And once again, we can be reached at 775-738-3030. We also, I wanted to back up just a little bit. Tomorrow, because this is a kind of a timely thing, tomorrow we are going to have a personal safety and awareness seminar. And this is taught by Kent Labartz and Cammie
Stevenson.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so we want, not Stevenson, Hamilton.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's right.
My error.
No, that's right. Cammie Hamilton. I was like, that sounds right. No, quite not yet. So Cammie Hamilton, but they're going to come in, and this isn't necessarily a personal defense course. This isn't a tactical, physical course. It's more about when you walk out of a store and it's dusk, look around. Who's around you? When you get home, make sure you turn around and lock that door. Don't just put down your purse and go drop things in the kitchen and then come back and lock the door. Do things in a systematic way to keep yourself more safe, and be aware of what's going on around you to keep yourself more safe. Because as you mentioned, there are elements that come through and try to take advantage of our elderly, and there are people that unfortunately will physically try to take advantage of our elderly, and we don't want that to happen. And the easiest way to prevent that is to be aware. So that is going to be tomorrow at the Senior Center, and it'll be at 1 p.m. So we invite anybody in the community that's 60 and better to come on up. You don't have to be a member of the center. Come on up and learn some personal awareness.
That's great. From Kent and Cammie. And Cammie Hamilton, by the way, is a retired city police officer. So you can really trust the source of the information that you're getting from this pair in self-awareness and just being a little more safe in our community.
Yes, absolutely. Tomorrow night, we also have bingo. So bingo in Elko, we want to make sure that folks know about that. Doors open at 5:30. I apologize. Doors open at 5. Game starts at 5:30. So we want to make sure that folks can come out and enjoy bingo. And then next week, a week from tonight, we will have Spring Creek bingo. And that's going to be out at the Spring Creek Association boardroom. We're appreciative of that partnership as well. Those doors will open at 5:30. Game starts at 6.
Bingo is so popular, and it is a fundraiser, so no outside food, please. There's a chance to purchase on site, and be generous, because all the money raised helps support the programs that the Senior Center's able to do.
Yes, absolutely. 50% of the buy-in goes back to the players as the payout, but that other 50% we do keep with the center, and we're able to use that for our operations and other things that are a little bit harder to get some grant monies for.
You do have a great board of directors, and they meet regularly. I think you've got a meeting of them coming up this month.
We do, not this Monday, but the following Monday. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, we'll have a discussion there and continue talking about future planning and what it is that's going to happen. I'm going to give kind of a sneak peek for your audience. We've received another bequest, which is extremely generous and very appreciated. it's always bittersweet when we get a bequest because it means that one of our members or former members has passed. But it's always nice for them to have remembered us as well. And our board has been very conscientious about where these bequests go. And so we'll have another one. And this would mean that in the last, actually, I think it's been 12 months. In the last 12 months, we've had $500,000 in bequests that have been granted to the senior center. And again, we mourn those that we've lost, but we certainly celebrate their gift to us. And the board has invested those funds to be able to look towards the future. Yes, we are a nonprofit and we rely on grants. We will probably always rely on state grants to a degree, but our goal is to be as independent as possible because we want to make sure that those entities and those folks that do donate, if there are other needs in the community and we can be independent, then we have that right, that responsibility to try to make an independent organization so that those funds can help others in the community. And that's kind of what the board is looking for and gearing towards with these investments that have been made.
Wow, what a wonderful legacy. I mean, that just gave me goosebumps thinking about those who helped to build this community and the generations before them, and now they're continuing to give in their passing, and with no strings attached. They trust you. That's a lot of confidence in the board of directors and the terrace, Matt. I mean, that is really says so much for the character of what's being accomplished there at the terrace. What's a very loving, thoughtful thing to do. So
absolutely,
a lot of trust there.
We work hard to maintain that trust as well.
And it shows that collaboration you're talking about, because with other groups and organizations, you're not trying to compete for funding. You're simply trying to either be an umbrella or to be in the shade of someone else's umbrella if necessary, in the shelter of. So just to benefit the community. Absolutely,
yeah. In fact, speaking of that umbrella, we are happy to say that we've not gotten all of the paperwork done, but we've started the process. In fact, we're almost finished with the process to partner with the Food Bank of Northern Nevada. Today, when I left, there were still people in line for the produce truck or produce on wheels. That's an offering by the Food Bank of Northern Nevada. They come up here once a month and provide produce to our seniors, which is terrific. And now we're looking at partnering and expanding that partnership, I should say, so that we can continue to have a senior-specific community food pantry. And we've been able to do that very much through the generosity of the William and Pennington Foundation, as well as the hospital, the Elko County Realtors Association, and a number of private gifts. And so hopefully with the Food Bank of Northern Nevada, we can solidify stabilize, I should say, that funding source so that we can continue to offer that, because we have, I think it was nearly 300 seniors that over the past year have needed some help with their grocery bills, and by being able to provide these items, it's certainly helpful. And again, because we're in this audit period, I think the average box was just under $48, and $48 may not seem like a lot, but when you're on a fixed income that comes only from Social Security, $48 a week is a lot of money. And so we're very happy that we were able to help those seniors and when they needed it, and we're very much excited and looking forward towards what our expanded collaboration with Food Bank of Northern Nevada can do as well.
Thanks, Matt. That's great news. Matt McCarty is director of the Terrace at Ruby View. The Food Bank of Northern Nevada has purchased a building. They'll have a warehouse here so that they can increase. I think they're going to bring out semi-truckloads of food that'll be coming out from Northern Nevada. Sherry Smith had talked about this from Fish, Friends in Service Helping. Again, another great collaborator without overlapping, but continuing to meet the needs. Senior needs in particular, Matt, when someone retires and they've spent their lives working and planning and often looking forward to retirement, spending more time with family and friends and enjoying hobbies. But then that reality sets in of having a fixed income, but costs continue to rise around you. And that's a very sad reality. That's why we have these programs. They're not handouts, they're a hand up.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's exactly what it is. We, through our food pantry, and we call it a food pantry, but it also has non-food items. There are 32 different items, and it's cheese and butter were the only two perishable items that we had on there. But it's simple things: a can of soup, toilet paper, denture cream, and denture adhesive. And it's interesting because only about 15% of our orders include denture cream or denture adhesive. But for those folks that need it, if they don't have it, then it doesn't matter what type of nutritional information or nutritional goods we give them. If they can't chew it, if they can't, enjoy it, then it's not going to do any good. So we try to look at those kind of things, and then simple things that we take for granted: soap and dish soap and shampoo and conditioner. So these are things that we provide, and it's basically a shopping list. And somebody says, "This is what we'd like," and it's cute because people will come in and say, "I know that normally I don't ask for flour, but this month I really need flour. Would that be okay?"
Yeah.
So they're also they're conscious that anything that they take may take away from a neighbor or a friend of theirs, and so they're also very conscious of what they are receiving.
Matt, thank you for, again, just illuminating bringing these stories to life. It's so much more than just the numbers, the figures and statistics and the contributions that come in. It's how they're applied to the people that we call our neighbors and friends. And again, who help to build this community. That's what our retired population represents.
That's right.
We owe them so much.
The sign above the door at the senior center says, "Through these doors pass the people that made this country great." And it gets me emotional because we have a great country, and these are people that have come in and they have made this country great, and we owe it to them to make sure that they are comfortable, in their later years. And that's something that I'm glad that we can play just a small part on and be able to celebrate them.
Oh, Matt, thanks. Boy, we're both sitting here with tears because it's the truth. And it's nice to be able to do something tangible, again, to demonstrate that kind of support. So anybody who's listening who wants to know more about any of these services, it's ongoing socialization. The meals are an important part of this, but there are so many other activities, whether it's fitness or legal advice or one-time seminars like you were talking about, tomorrow's safety workshop. These are ongoing opportunities, and you can drop in as often as you like, or you can simply sign up for membership and then maybe just once or twice a year. It just depends on what's comfortable for you. There's no tracking, or no one's going to be calling you and asking where you are or anything like that, unless they want to check up on you. Right.
And those that are regular, that we see day after day after day, and then all of a sudden we stop seeing, we do call, but no, we don't track, we don't harass or harangue. And if all you want is just to be mailed the newsletter, then okay, we're glad that information can get to you. We hope to see you come into the center, but if not, then when you're ready, we're here.
Thanks, Matt, so much. Anything else that's on your list? And I want to make sure that we're getting to today, just because we are advancing into the holiday season. We're here in October. I did want to mention Nevada Day, because you will be closed on Friday, October 25th. The Nevada Day Parade is in downtown Elko, and lineup starts at 10, the parade at 11. And guess who is the Grand Marshal of the parade this year? He's one of our favorite local seniors, Dr. Louis Bergeron.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so Jim Connor just announced that he released that information today, so super cool. So Dr. Bergeron, who I believe is a member, I think I've seen his name on the list.
I believe he is, yes.
Yeah, so congratulations, Doc. You are the Grand Marshal of the Nevada Day Parade this year.
Terrific. And yes, congratulations. Enjoy the parade, folks. In fact, if you've gotten the newsletter, a big portion of the newsletter I devoted to Nevada Day as a proud Nevadan. And so I love Nevada Day, and I hope that you all have a wonderful holiday. If you're so lucky to be off on that Friday, but celebrate to the state that has given us so much.
He's wearing his Battle-Born Nevada Proud 150th shirt, celebrating 150 years. That was back in 2014.
Yeah, 10 years. Somebody told me that today. That's a 10-year-old shirt, man. I'm like, well,
it still
looks okay.
Fine. Yeah, it's great. It's great. And it shows your Nevada Day pride. So it's a collectible, right? So,
right. There you go. Absolutely.
Right. So we want to send them to 1795 Ruby View Drive. Get My Ride is, you can call for that service. It's door to door if you need transportation. And remember, lunch starts at 11:30 weekdays, 775-738-3030, elkoseniors.org. Lots of ways to get information and get connected.
Absolutely. And before I forget and before we leave, Medicare open enrollment is coming up. So we will have access to healthcare coming up. That's our MAP partner, Medicare Assistance Program partner. So they'll be in November, but we'll also have Kristen Rowe and Risa Sadoris that got married. And I'm so sorry, Risa, now I'm forgetting your married name, but they'll be here almost daily once the open enrollment starts to be able to help with Medicare. So if you need assistance with Medicare, please call us at 775-738-3030, and we can get you that information to get an appointment.
I think the Medicare work group in Elko is hosting a specific session Friday, right?
Perfect, and it is at the library. And I want to say it's in the evening, and I wish I had
you're
that.
Right.
So
yes.
Yep, yeah.
Okay.
And we can get you that information as well. Call the senior center. We can get that for you because yes, Medicare work group or Medicare working group in Elko is got that coming up at the library.
Thanks so much, Matt McCarty, director of the Terrace at Ruby View, our senior and active lifestyle center. Thank you, listeners, for joining us for Elko Live today.